Welcome back. Here's the Kovacs report, and it's time to take a look at one of the first tie-ins to Jonathan Hickman's huge cosmic event, Imperial, that is unfolding across the Marvel universe as we speak, with Imperial War, Planet She-Hulk by Stephanie Phillips, Jonathan Hickman, with Emilio Laiso and Matt Miller. Now, I am going to go through it page by page. There will be spoilers, so please read the book beforehand if you want to support. Like the video if you can. And if you're new here, hit subscribe. I'd really appreciate it and help me grow the channel. So let's dive straight in. Now, I've been a She-Hulk fan for many, many years. I like all iterations of her, when she's more savage, when she's more violent. And I also like the fourth wall breaking, more humorous take, which I discovered with Dan Slott. And his run was amazing and really solidified the character for me as one of my favorites. And if you like Dan Slott's run, you're in for a treat, because that's what we're going to get here. And if you haven't read Dan Slott's run, I advise you pick it up and give it a blast, because it's so, so good. So she has been put in charge of Sakaar, the Hulk war planet, essentially, by her cousin, the Hulk, as he travels the galaxy trying to discover who murdered his son, and of course, getting involved in the big galactic war that's going on over in Imperial. Now, she's only been there a few days, and the problems are mounting up. She is not enjoying her time at all. The atmosphere is causing her complexion to break out. The gravity is causing her bowel problems too. So that's not pleasant. I don't even want to think about it. But she is not happy at all. And on top of that, there's been a murder. So that's where we are. Now, She-Hulk, she comes from Earth, of course, and she's used to justice and rules and process. But on Sakaar, that's not the way things are done. Things are usually done through extreme violence and basically murder. Okay, now she's trying to keep the peace for the time that Hulk is away. And like I said, it's not going well. Not with this murder on day 4. Now, she believes one of the hero Carla's mourning widows is a cold-blooded killer. And we introduced to these 5 very different characters. Ovaki, Elara, Thorn, who's also a witch, Myron, and Juno. And then we jump back to here where we get a quick origin page. But anyway, we jump back again. This jumps all over the place, first pages, and that's fine. So we jump back to day 3 before this event has happened, and we discover that, of course, people's wills and people's patience are breaking, and arguments are ensuing, and the violence is beginning. Okay, and of course it can only lead to one thing, and that is death. Now, she intervenes before the killing blow is placed here and smashes this guy straight into the ground. Now, before I get even further to the book, I want to notice something that Stephanie Phillips has done, which I thought was really, really cool, right? Because this is a fourth wall breaking book. But not only does she talk to us, she also leans outside the panels, and you can see the panel borders buckling under her strength and weight. And then the next panel, she's kind of straightening it back up again. So I thought it was a really, really subtle, nice touch with the fourth wall breaking. Anyway, let's get back to Jennifer Walters. So she's had enough, right? She wants this to stop. So she says the next person who decides to break the peace will end up with more than fractured ribs or whatever alien bits you've got. It will mean your head, or heads if you have multiple. I'm an equal opportunity beheader. So the dialogue's really snappy and really cool. Again, Stephanie Phillips doing a great job of it. Now, while that's happening, Conrad, he's like the royal council and former gladiator turned cyborg, says, well, beheadings aren't particularly known for being peaceful. She's like, well, listen, this planet doesn't understand anything else but violence. You know, what else am I supposed to do? And he said, well, you're not going to be happy about the news that I have. There's been an incident at the palace, which is this murder. And we discover that the poor victim is Alistair Stone, who was the political advisor to Hero Kala. Now, she said, well, political strategy, I don't see that as a sort of prominent thing on this planet. You know, it's all random acts of violence. But he says, listen, he's done more for peace on this planet than you imagine. He's brokered many, many peace treaties between planets. I mean, how do you think he got the 5 wives in the first place? You know, these wives were married to create peace between various worlds and various dynasties, I guess, including the witch coven, the burned hand, right? Which is one of the wives you saw earlier on. Well, he said, well, how the hell did someone get in here and murder Alistair and get out unnoticed with all the security that you have? You've got all these biometrics, all these traps and everything. He said, well, like you are, a number of people are coded into the security system and they have free reign. You know, it doesn't register when they go in or out. And she's like, well, do the wives have that access? He's like, yes, and a few others. So this is where she begins to believe that the wives may have something to do with it. So we continue. We are at the autopsy, right? So the autopsy is conducted, and we find out that he has not only been stabbed, beaten, poisoned, strangled, and cursed, all right? Okay, and that's where the penny drops, right? So there's 5 different methods of death here. We don't know which one caused the killing blow as such. Well, we know there's 5 methods, and that's where I think, okay, it's the 5 wives. They've all tried to kill this chap. They've all got a grudge to bear. Okay, maybe because they were, married into I don't know, servitude, I guess, and they didn't like it. So I'm thinking, oh, right, we know the twist already. But it doesn't spoil the book. It doesn't spoil the book at all. Anyway, I digress. So she says, right, I know what's going on. Let's talk to these wives. But before anything happens, the lights go out. Okay, and the security systems go offline, and they're thinking, okay, maybe the killer is making another house cool. Now, as they're walking down the hallways, these suits of armor and arrows start animating and flying, and she battles them, of course, like she does as She-Hulk, with a little smile, because you know what, even though she doesn't like the violence, she kind of enjoys it sometimes, and she smashes them to bits. But this confirms to her absolutely who the killer is. And let's just jump through these pages. There's lots of battle here. The fighting's really well done, actually. The fight scenes are really kinetic. There's lots of little moments where you think, oh, I really like that. That was cool. That was brutal. But anyway, let's jump back. So she turns up and says, right, I know who the killer is. It's Thorn, Hero Culler's 3rd wife. You have the security clearance motive to kill Alistair because of the arranged marriages and magic, because, that curse looked pretty bad to me. And she stands up without fuss and goes, yes, it was me. I did it. In fact, extremely proud of it. She is reveling in the fact that she murdered it and she can share this. But everyone else starts standing up. All the other wives start standing up and saying, no, actually, I did. This one says, I stabbed them. Actually, I poisoned them. And here's the name of the poison that was used in the killing. And they're all guilty of murdering the guy, which we knew anyway. So they were fed up for the transgressions that he put upon them, the arranged marriages and everything else that have gone on. And with the king's death, they sought opportunity to put that wrong to right. So she's not happy about this. She is not happy about this at all, and says, right, you are all under arrest for murder. And then everyone just breaks out in laughter. Even our cyborg friend here. He says, Jennifer, these women clearly had a blood feud with Alistair Stone, and a blood feud is settled with blood. She goes, right, but murder is illegal. And she goes, no, it's not illegal here. On Earth it is. Over here it's very legal to kill someone if you have a blood feud. And she's like, what is going on? I don't know what's going on. She's just completely exacerbated with the whole thing. And there it ends as she looks over, hoping that Hulk will return on the 5th day as the night dawns. And she gets very upset and she screams over the edge, or she vomits from that upset stomach I mentioned earlier on. And that's it. It's just a little self-contained story. It doesn't add anything to the Imperial mini-series at all, which is a little bit upsetting, because I was hoping that these things might do a little bit more, at least flesh out what's going on with the subsidiary characters. It seems to me, and I don't mean to be horrible here, but it seems to me it's just another one of Marvel's little sales things where they pump out all these tie-ins which have nothing to do with the actual event itself. Give it a zillion variant covers and a number 1. And that's all they really are. And I'm going to guess that the rest are. In fact, I know the rest are because I've read the Black Panther one too, and it's much the same. So they're little one-shots, they're little coffee break comics if you like them. But again, you don't have to read them if you're reading Imperial. They're not making any impact on the main story at all. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Do let me know yours. And don't forget, read that Dan Slott run. You won't be disappointed. Until next time, read more comics, and we'll see you soon.